Hello, everybody, and welcome to our segment today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lynn McKenzie, and I am the immigration lead here at Relocation Africa. Our business has over 27 years of providing services across Africa, and our immigration division in particular supports various categories of temporary and permanent visas, such as study visas, business visas, work visas, permanent residence, entry clearances, alien registration cards, and exit visas for the continent of Africa. However, we are so excited because after 27 years and building off the success of our existing immigration division, we are proud to launch our outbound services. So whether you would like to work, retire, invest, and or start a new life, Relocation Africa would be happy to help you embrace the unknown. Our team and associated partners in the respective jurisdictions will provide seamless fulfillment of your immigration and investment needs. Our topics for discussion today, and I'm so excited, we'll be covering the EB-5 Investor Green Card. We'll be talking about the E-2 Visa Treaty Investor Visa, and we'll also be discussing the Grenada Citizenship Program, where you can become a global citizen and attain a second passport. I'd like to welcome our guests today who work with us at Relocation Africa to fulfill these cases in their respective programs. So I'd love to introduce Sonia and Arwa. Each of them are experts in their respective dimensions, and we will be sharing pertinent information pertaining to these topics today. Thank you both so much for joining me. How's everybody doing today?
Very well,
Hello,
thank you, Lynn. Thanks for having us today.
Thank you.
We are just so thrilled to have you both on here, and our listeners, I'm sure, are just very excited to be hearing about the topics we're covering today. We are going to start with the EB-5 Investor Green Card, and hence we're going to start with Sonia. Sonia, before we delve into the nitty-gritty of this Green Card Investor Program, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role and how you fulfill these cases and where you're located?
Thank you very much, Lynn, and we are super excited with our brand new venture and partnership with Relocations Africa. For any of your outbound business and clients, I'm the Regional Director for First Pathway Partners based in South Africa. I look after the African continent, yes, EB-5, I'm very excited to present. You know, on highlighted points, I'm going to be quoting our Executive Vice President, Jennifer Shearer, in today's questions. And I'm also going to be quoting Michael Heath, which is from Teriyaki Madness, which I'll tell you all about just now.
Yes,
so yes, anybody looking for immigrant visas or non-immigrant visas to the United States, those are the two areas that we cover. And that is through the EB-5 and the E-2. Thank you, Lynn.
Excellent. So let's delve into the details of the EB-5. So could you start sharing with us just what is the EB-5? A lot of our network is maybe hearing it for the first time. So what is it? Who's eligible to apply? And walk us through some of the procedures and the process.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to just give you a little bit of background. So the EB-5 is a United States government program which allows anyone to apply for a US green card with their immediate family, placing them on a path to US citizenship. All that's required is that you invest $900,000 US, which is about 14 million rand of your funds, and then which you have obtained lawfully. And the US government created this program over 30 years ago to incentivize investment and job creation.
Great. And who qualifies? You talked about the 900,000 contribution. So are there avenues to be able to attest for those legalities? So you were talking about how that it needs to be legally attained. So I assume the due diligence would be administered to make sure that these individuals are actually eligible, right?
Yes, 100%. Obviously, there's a due diligence process. You know, we have a 100% success rate in terms of all our EB-5 projects. We've generated over $1 billion US worth of foreign investment, which has created jobs, and it's also directly funded the US economy. So anybody wanting to become part of the US economy can do so through EB-5 or E-2. So obviously you fill in an application, we will scrutinize, we will vet it, and we won't submit an application unless we know that you are a good candidate to be able to be approved through USCIS, which is the US Customs and Immigration Service. So as mentioned, I'm just going to quickly go through the eligibility requirements. So you will qualify for United States green card and citizenship through the EB-5. It is a 5-year process. So it's broken up. You know, you put your $900,000 US into an escrow account with a regional center, of which First Pathway Partners is. We're one of the top regional centers in the United States and founded by Mr. Bob Kraft, which is our chairman and CEO. Bob Kraft is also the chairman of IIUSA, which is Invest in the USA. You're more than welcome to look it up and see exactly the good work that the nonprofit organization does. So who can qualify? So as the main applicant, whether it be husband or wife, your spouse and children under the age of 21 would be covered. Children never age out, and you can keep the green card. So what happens is after about 18 months, you get your conditional green card. About 2 years later, you get your permanent green card, and within a 5-year period, you are then eligible for citizenship and your full funds returned.
Okay.
Your spouse can work anywhere. You can live anywhere in the United States. You can get free or reduced cost education. And obviously, once you have a citizenship, you can vote in the US elections, which we are all watching at the edge of our seats at the moment. And then you would be eligible to obtain your US passport once you've taken the test.
Great. That's awesome. And with regards to, you said the process and procedures, in the climate that we're in now, there's COVID-19. So has there been an impact on the processing for these EB-5 applications? Have you seen any changes in terms of your volume?
Yes, indeed. But taking into account that the EB-5 process is a process in terms of your first 2 years, you have to wait anyway. Those applicants that have been waiting and got their I-526 approval have to then go to their consulate, in this case South Africa, to the Johannesburg US consulate, where you would have to meet with the immigration officer. COVID's in fact been affected, you know, obviously the in-person interviews that have to take place. I'm also just going to quote here a bit from Jennifer Scherer. The US government is still processing applications. However, upon approval, the consulate in Johannesburg has suspended routine immigrant and non-immigrant visa services, like in-person interviews due to COVID-19. And however, if you apply now, this is unlikely to impact you, as the application process takes as currently, which is about 2 years. So the consulate should be open by then, and this is also a great time to invest in the US.
Okay.
So, yeah, looking at the US dollar, it is diversifying your investment portfolio. Ara will speak a little bit about that a little bit later. And yes, you know, at the end of the day, it depends which way the family, everybody's needs are different. Either you want to go E-5 and we can go into E-2 a little bit later, which is a different process.
I see. Okay, so just to summarize that point, you're encouraging people to apply because, in fact, even though right now in-person submissions are not happening due to COVID, it probably won't impact them long term. So encourage people to still apply for those EB-5 applications, because there's so many steps from what I'm understanding that goes into the due diligence, the eligibility requirements, the processing, the document accumulation, scrutiny, and the quality control that goes through that. So it's great to hear that there's no stopping people applying because the process takes a little long. That's fantastic. So
yeah, and it's all done electronically, you know. So due to COVID, I think we're also used to it now. We have our technology glitches, but you know, obviously when it comes to processing, all documents can be filed online. Yes.
That's always nice. We hope that all jurisdictions will be able to apply online. I think in certain circumstances, people are still feeling more comfortable with the paper pushing, if you will. But you mentioned teriyaki madness. So can you expand on that? Because there's various ways for people to invest. And I know that you've talked to me when we've had our chats before on the benefits of investing in sort of a franchise. So can you tell us a little bit about teriyaki madness, what that is, and how people can use that avenue to invest?
So teriyaki madness, we are very, very excited about it. It is a great business opportunity where with EB-5, historically, your typical EB-5 project, you would have to wait about 5 years before your funds are refunded. One thing I'd like to actually just mention about the EB-5 process, every country is allocated a certain amount of applications per year. So currently South Africa has not got a waiting list on EB-5, which is very good news. Even our friends up in Africa, you know, places like India and China, India, they're talking about a 7-year wait, and China, sometimes 14, 15 years wait, because only so many are allocated. We know that the laws have changed and been amended, and that's all on the USA site. So just to get back to teriyaki madness, so you actually own your EB-5 and you own your E-2. So what it is, it's Asian food, and it's also one of the fastest growing food markets in the world due to its bold flavor and healthy ingredients and overall nutritional value. And within recent years, consumers and customers are looking towards a healthier diet, an active lifestyle, and as a result, the fast food industry is taking a hit because they aren't providing healthy options. And fast casual restaurants are providing those healthier options while we still have the, let me just quickly see, I've lost my place here. Fast casual restaurants are providing these healthier options while still providing the convenience consumers want, and that is why teriyaki madness has proven to be a welcome concept in the market and is oversaturated with unhealthy options, and that is no longer has the appeal for consumers' needs. So fast casual restaurants are one of the fastest growing sectors in the restaurant industry in the United States, and the second segment is actually rapidly booming because the consumers love the concept. It fits the need to eat on the run while you know, it's offering healthy options. The food is fresher, higher quality, and can be more customized with traditional fast food. And customers are willing to pay more for it, you know, which falls great within the, you know, in your revenues and your returns on your investment.
Okay.
So we just kind of, you know, the CEO, Michael, he says, we live a little bit in the future. We're a technology company as much as what we are a restaurant. Our food travels really well. It's Asian food, and our packaging was designed all to go, and with our delivery systems, the technology and the ease of use and convenience, sales within the shops have soared. They've outperformed the projections that we had, even through COVID, which is good news.
That's really great.
Even our directors and our executive team in the US, if you go to our website, we've launched, I think we've launched the 5th store already, and all the grand openings are there. Just to give you a little bit about the COVID-19 growth, so we call it TMAD, which is teriyaki madness, just a bit of fun. So TMAD sales were up 16% year over year, and that was in June. Wow. Plus there's a loyalty program, and which has added roughly 30,000 guests per month, you know, onto each restaurant's list. There's been an increase in stores. TMAD has 77 units. It's projected to have roughly 100 by the end of 2020 or early 21. It's awarded, it awarded 90 franchises, and it expanded into 7 new states in the US.
Right. Well,
as I mentioned, okay, so yeah, so we're looking at these 8 new shops open since May. I see it's been updated. So including the list of the 10-unit development deal in Hawaii, 10 more are scheduled to open in the coming weeks, and more resources for franchisees. So TMAT has hired on a new vice president of franchise relations. They've hired a vice president of finance, director of real estate, design and construction, and a director of supply chain, and a local shop marketing manager. So you don't have to know about the restaurant business or the fast food business. We take care of all of that.
Okay.
So we've got restaurant Sherpas that step in and they manage the day-to-day operations. You know, as Mr. has said, how many pizzas can you eat, and how burgers don't travel well.
Yeah, that's very
how many
true.
people order a sandwich for dinner, go to casual dining, they now have an option to get something that's different and that they can make at home. And frankly, we are here for months and months or so, and people are starting to mix. It's increasing week by week. It's pretty amazing.
So that's great news. So it sounds to me that this is a great investment option for people who want to go through the EB-5 route. And it's very exciting to hear that the restaurant business and this particular franchise in this program has made it through COVID. I mean, if you can make it through COVID, you can make it through anything, right? At least that's what we're going to be hoping for. But that sounds all good. But now, what if you have a situation, Sonia, where you have a client who may not be able to make that 900,000 contribution? So now they're not able to make that minimum investment. So there is another way that they can live and work in the U.S., which you briefly mentioned now earlier, was the E-2 visa treaty investor visa program. So can we transition there, and you can tell us about the E-2 eligibility process and procedures for that one?
Sure. So who's eligible for the program? So they would be anyone who holds a passport of a treaty country to the United States, which would be an E-2 economic treaty country to the United States. Arwa's going to speak a little bit more about that, which is a great fit in for both of our businesses. So South Africa is not a treaty country, but it is easy to gain treaty citizenships, and we can also assist you in gaining a Grenada passport for a 220,000 investment, and there are various options available for that. The process and procedure, it's a lot faster than the EB-5 and a lot shorter. If you have a passport holder of a country that has a treaty with the United States, you and your family can be in the US as short as 3 months.
Wow.
So we will assist you investing in the business and applying with the consulate, and after a short interview at the consulate, you receive a residency visa. And the biggest difference is this is a path to a permanent green card, to citizenship. So that means you can then obtain a second passport to Grenada within 2 to 3 months. I will expand on that. And to qualify for your E-2 visa, you need to invest into a business in the United States with a minimum investment amount. We've taken care of all of that. We have Teriyaki Madness set up, as previously mentioned.
Okay.
And you can gain access through your E-2 very quickly. Like I said previously, within 6 months, you could be in the United States. And you don't have to live in the state where your actual franchise is. So I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's shorter, it's quicker. Your investment portion is 300,000 opposed to 900,000.
That is quite a significant difference, and you could still find your way to live and work in the United States. So you've mentioned Grenada, and I know that that is going to be our next topic, but it's been so interesting to me because COVID has really made people rethink their futures and like what they want to be doing, and kind of jumping right in and decisions that they've been wanting to make for a long time, but were hesitant, particularly with regards to either migrating more on a permanent basis, or for whatever reason, whether it be leisure, education, business, they want to be able to move freely, because immigration can be such a challenge in a lot of these jurisdictions. I know I've been in this immigration world for many years, so I definitely myself was very intrigued by some of these options, particularly with Grenada and the type of access you can get to the world and the benefits. So I'm excited with EB-5, E-2. Thank you, Sonia, for sharing that with us. I would love to hear from Arwa now. Arwa, you're an expert in this program. But before we get into those details, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role and how you fulfill these types of cases and where you're located.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me today. I think Sonia's been brilliant. She's explained EB-5 and E-2 extremely well, and I'll explain a little bit about how we all fit in together. Just to give you a little bit of background about myself, so I work for Range Development. I'm a business development director over here, and Range has been helping families since 2012 in terms of citizenship by investment, and we've been in the game for a long time. We've done previous projects before in the islands of St. Kitts and Dominica also, and currently our current project is the Six Senses in Grenada, which we're very excited about. It's a well-known 5-star hotel brand, and for those that don't know where Grenada is, it's actually one of the Caribbean islands. And Grenada is a little bit different to the other Caribbean islands because it also gives migration option to the United States, which I'll go into a little bit. I mean, Caribbean island has always been, quite attractive for a lot of people in terms of global mobility. So everybody looks at the Caribbean passport because it gives obviously visa-free access to multiple amount of countries. And Grenada is great because it gives visa-free access to more than 140 countries. And the great thing about it, you get visa-free access to the UK, to Europe, to Russia, to China, which is predominantly the main countries that people want to travel, whether it's for leisure, whether it's for business purposes, and just even in terms of having that flexibility. And I mean, I'm from the UK, so fortunately, unfortunately, I've not come across issues when it comes to travel. But being
I love
in the
how you
industry
said
now,
unfortunately or fortunately. That was brilliant.
I don't know, because right now it doesn't matter which passport you hold, you can't go anywhere. So I don't know. I don't know if Grenada is better or what I have is better, but maybe Grenada is a better option.
That's a really good point.
But let me tell you a little bit about Grenada and what makes Grenada so special. So Grenada is a citizenship by investment program. Like Lynn said, the investment amount is $220,000, which makes it extremely cost effective for a lot of families. There are some additional government fees, which are like due diligence, processing fees, etc. So for an average family of 4, it's around $300,000. I mean, most people's cars are valued more than that. So, having a solid passport that gives you that flexibility to travel, as well as being able to migrate to, the biggest economy in the world, which is the United States. So it makes extremely, extremely attractive. What else does Grenada give you? So it also gives you the option to add additional family members, which there's a lot of restrictions with a lot of programs. So you can add parents, siblings. Your investment amount is 220. There's additional government fees, but here in the Middle East, I mean, I'm based out of Dubai, so here in the Middle East there are larger family setups. And I think that's always been a hindrance to a lot of people that apply for these citizenship by investment programs, because they can't always add their entire family members. So Grenada is fantastic like that, because you can add additional family members. In terms of processing, it's pretty seamless. It takes 3 to 4 months from the time we submit the application. Obviously, we pre-screen the clients before anything is submitted. We want to ensure that, for the client, it's a seamless experience. As well as having all the documentation in place. And in terms of documents, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, there's an element where they have to show their source of funds to make sure they're legitimate, so that they can obviously have the funds available for the investment. There's no requirement to reside in Grenada or ever visit Grenada, which makes it extremely attractive, because there's a lot of European programs, or should I say residency permits, where there's a requirement that they have to spend a certain amount of time in that particular country. Yeah, so Grenada has no criteria like that, so you don't need to visit, you don't need to go live there. By all means, if you want to go visit, it's a fantastic island, and I'm sure when the Six Senses Hotel,
I see pictures.
Yeah,
I just see.
We'd love to welcome. Yeah, we'd love to welcome you when it's ready. But you know, there's no such requirement. And let me tell you a little bit about the investment benefits. So the investment is $220,000, which is obviously into our Six Senses Hotel. We are the actual developers, so we ensure that the development, you know, comes to completion, because, you know, end of the day, we don't want to start something and not finish it. The construction on the hotel started earlier on this year, and it's due to complete in November 2022. Once the hotel is complete, there will be a return on the investment of between 2 to 4%. Obviously, it is based on the performance of the hotel, but based on our previous 2 hotels that we've delivered, it'll be around 2 to 4%. So it's not going to make you rich, but at least there's a return on the investment. Absolutely, yeah. And you do get a 1 week annual stay at the hotel as well, which is fantastic, you know, to have as a second holiday home.
I love that.
I mean, it's not so far. Yeah, it's not so far from the US. I think from Miami, it's around 3.5 hour flight. So we do have a lot of our investors that like to go visit the project and stay there with their families. So that is obviously one of the benefits as an investor as well. And the great thing with the Citizenship by Investment program is you do need to stay invested for 5 years, but after 5 years, you can actually sell your share to somebody else who's looking to acquire citizenship. So, you know, you do have an element after 5 years where you can recuperate your investment and recover that money back. You know, and still keep and still.
Are you selling it at the same rate as you did when you first acquired it? So is it the same investment amount?
So the Citizenship by Investment is slightly different to you buying a unit in the real estate market. So it's not going to go on supply and demand. The $220,000 is a requirement by the government for the Citizenship by Investment program. So as long as the government doesn't change that entry point for the program, your 220 will remain at 220. Okay. And how likely is it to change? Well, to be honest, you know, it's one of those, yes, the Caribbean programs are quite popular, and Grenada has been extremely popular, especially I'd say post November last year, when the EB-5 you know, requirement had increased from $500,000 to $900,000. You know, so Grenada was an alternative route for a lot of people to have that entry to the United States and live and invest over there. So it's become an extremely popular program. But unless this, you know, the government changes that amount for whatever reason, that 220 will remain at 220. And, you know, it's not a theory for us, because our previous projects, we've got investors that have completed their 5 years and have resold their shares. So, you know, it's not something that we're just saying off the cuff that, yeah, will it happen, will it not happen? We do have investors in our Kempinski and our Park Hyatt projects which have sold their shares to somebody else who's looking to acquire citizenship. So they have recovered, you know, their money back on that. So, you know, it's a very cost-effective program. 3 to 4 months, you get your passport, and, you know, you're free to travel as soon as you receive it. And obviously, if you are looking at the migration route, then you've got, you know, Sonia's team that can obviously take care of that side for you and advise you on the best route possible and make that a seamless process. And like Sonia said, all in all, you know, 6 to 7 months, your family could be in the USA.
Yeah, it seems all like the clouds behind me, it seems all dandy, but I'm sure from the both of you, you will share with us some of the challenges maybe in your respective programs that you face. Arwa, let's just start with you since we were here. What kind of challenges would you say that you would advise clients on when they're embarking on the Grenada citizenship? I keep saying Grenada. I know that there's different pronunciations, but it seems to just come out that way. So if I'm saying it wrong, please forgive me.
It's like tomato, Grenada. It's fine. Don't worry. So let me tell you about challenges for Grenada. So, you know, people confuse Grenada citizenship as an EB-5, and it's not. That's exactly not what it is. It is a second passport. It does give you access to the USA because of the US treaty, but it's not, you know, you get a Grenada passport and you're off on a flight and you're living in the USA. There is a completely separate process involved. So Grenada citizenship is just one part of it, and because you're obviously from a US treaty country, by having a Grenadian citizenship, the next part is you are able to apply for an E-2 visa, and that is a completely separate process. And it's important for the investor to understand that they are two separate, you know, processes. And it's great, you know, that Sonia's there and their team can explain the process behind that and how long it takes. And I think some people are a little bit confused in the sense that they think it's an automatic entry to the United States, and it's not. You know, there is an investment requirement for you to invest into a business in the United States. The visa is renewed. It is a 5-year multiple entry visa, and it is renewed on the basis that the business still exists. And there is an element that you have to manage and direct the business and be involved in the business. So it's not a case of, you know, putting my money down and my family's moving. It's great for people that are looking for maybe a quicker solution for the United States and don't want to wait, like an Indian national, they don't want to wait 7 years for their family to move. So, you know, this is an alternative solution, and there's nothing stopping them to apply for the EB-5 or, you know, continue down that path. But the difference is, instead of you sitting in your home country waiting the 5, 7, 10-year period, you're actually already in the USA enjoying the benefits, you know, living the lifestyle without having that anxiety of waiting and thinking, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? So it's a great alternative solution, I'd say.
I'd like that. I like that. And Sonia, any challenge, you can think of one challenge that you embark on when it comes to the EB-5 or the E-2, or is it sort of very similar to what Arwa was saying?
I think it's very different in the sense where with Grenada, you can include multiple family members. So if you've got children up to the age of 30 that are unmarried, they could still qualify, obviously with the government fees associated. They could still qualify under the main applicant, parents, grandparents. So, you know, that is a great benefit there. So people will then say, well, look, you know, I've got a child, for example, that is 20 years old, and under US law for the EB-5 and also for the E-2 treaty visa, children have to be under the age of 21. So, for example, if you do your application for your E-2 visa, you would have to, before that child turns 21, you would have to then transition. You can't convert it, but you can transition and file for your EB-5 petition to make sure that your children, even when they surpass the age of 21, you make sure that you've made that application before that time. The other opportunities that would possibly be seen as a challenge, an E-2 visa is granted to an applicant, and that gives you 50% of a Teriyaki Madness franchise. Whereas if you've got, for instance, two brothers or family members that both want to get the E-2, that would be the challenge. So it doesn't mean because you qualify for your Grenada citizenship as a whole family, that the whole family, because it is restricted to the family of 4 with children under the age of 21.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. It seems that the both processes, both of you answering these very pertinent questions on process and procedures. And, you know, it's very important that, you know, particularly with immigration pathways, you can tick all the boxes, the eligibility and everything else, but when it comes to quality control and some of those nuances, then we need experts like ourselves to be able to advise clients on the pitfalls that can occur, the challenges that can occur, managing people's expectations. These programs seem phenomenal, and I cannot thank you enough. And as we wrap up, I want to hear from each of you if there is just any comment or advice that you would like to give a client right now, particularly in light of where people are in these unforeseen circumstances, planning, whatever, you know, I would say floats your boat back there, Sonia. Or my
Absolutely.
plane flies my plane, but you know what I'm getting at. So share something, just a little something with us.
Okay, so you know, I've had many webinars on a lot of different topics, and they are related to, call it, pain points that people have in their lives. You know, I've touched on the state of our medical care, our education, our food security, and also our corporate governance. So I think in terms of where we sit in an uncertain climate, I think everyone's in that boat. My advice would be, you know, I've got so many clients that have all their eggs in one basket, you know, and they don't have a diversified portfolio. And that's something IRWA can also help investors with. Because if you do want to diversify your investment portfolio, you can easily do it through Grenada and an E-2, or you go for a full-on EB-5.
Okay.
The United States economy is still the greatest economy in the world, and you know, the government that's there is going to be you know, basically the Supreme Court and the laws, should I say, are always going to be there and uphold the American values. So
Okay,
yes, that's
great. Arwa, can
Yeah.
you give us something quickly for our listeners? Some tips, a tip or a
So I'd probably say for us in the range team over here, we've been extremely busy over the last six months. You know, even though for a lot of people lockdown has slowed down. And why have we been busy? Because, you know, what I'd say is what Corona has done is probably accelerated a lot of people's decisions, whether it's in terms of migration, whether it's in terms of looking at alternative solutions in terms of tax jurisdiction or better lifestyle for their families and their kids or whatever it might be. And it's more of a topic of conversation with a lot of people, even people, you know, that have got strong passports. And it's not a case of, you know, people only look at Caribbean passports or Grenada citizenship if they come from one of these countries where their passports are not strong enough. That's not the case at all.
Right.
You know, we've had a lot of interest from various different countries where we've never seen it before. And, you know, the ultimate reason why people look at alternative solutions is like Sonia said, you know, people are looking at different jurisdictions, whether it's in terms of diversifying their assets, whether it's in terms of, you know, bettering their life or their lifestyle. And it's not necessary to say that they want to move anywhere imminently, but people are considering these options. And all it basically does is provide you with that facility, and it's become a necessity for a lot of people to have an alternative passport, you know, for various different reasons.
Right.
You know, in Grenada's had probably about 10-15 cases of Corona and nobody's died. So right now, Grenada passport is probably more valuable than any other passport going, you know. Everywhere.
That's
you know, and it's like, and it's like, you know, you're not going to buy fire insurance when there's a fire. So people are being pragmatic. They are looking at alternative stuff, and, you know, let's hope for the best in terms of Corona, and hopefully the world can make sense again very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you, Sonia and Arwa, again for joining me today. I'm sure our viewers will find this information very valuable. And just a reminder to everybody listening, if you would like assistance with the EB-5 green card, E-2 treaty investor visa and Grenada citizenship, or any other immigration matters, you are most welcome to contact us via immigration@relocationafrica.com and visit our website at www.relocationafrica.com. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.